The UN Security Council held a meeting on Yemen to discuss the recent developments. UN envoy urged parties to seize the opportunity of the regional momentum to achieve peace in Yemen. This report has more.
During the latest United Nations Security Council briefing, Special Envoy for Yemen, Hans Grunberg, claimed that strong diplomatic efforts are ongoing to resolve Yemen's 8-year war. He noted increased regional and international dynamics, such as the recent restoration of diplomatic ties between Saudi Arabia and Iran, who back rivals in the conflict. Grunberg encouraged Yemen's government and Houthi rebels to take advantage of this opportunity, presented by the increased momentum.
We are currently witnessing renewed regional diplomatic momentum, as well as a step change in the scope and depth of the discussions. I welcome the continued efforts of regional member states, in particular the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Sultanate of Oman, and ask the parties to seize the opportunities created by the regional momentum.
United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs Joyce Msuya had some positive news. The number of people going hungry in Yemen has dropped by almost 2 million, and the number at the worst level, facing famine, has dropped to 0.
Another improvement has been a decline in the number of people going hungry in Yemen, which has fallen by almost 2 million people. The worst levels of hunger, IPC 5, have dropped to 0. This is largely thanks to the tireless efforts of humanitarian workers, to the generous support of donors, and to the truth itself.
Nonetheless, she said that Yemen remains a staggering emergency, with more than 17 million people in need of assistance this year, funding in short supply and economic problems pushing even more people into destitution. At a pledging conference 2 weeks ago, more than 30 donors promised $1.16 billion for humanitarian assistance this year for Yemen, which Msuya welcomed, but she stressed that it was the lowest level since 2017 and far below the $4.3 billion the U.S. needs to help the 17 million people.
But we must not rejoice too much, because Yemen remains a staggering emergency. This year, more than 17 million people are counting on aid agencies for assistance and protection. But too often, agencies don't have what they need to help.
While Grunberg said the overall military situation in the country continues to be relatively stable and other elements of the truce continue to be implemented, there has been an uptick in the number and intensity of clashes in several frontline areas, including Ma'rib and Taiz. He called these gains fragile and urged the government and Houthis to exercise maximum restraints during this critical time to avoid destabilizing the situation.